Alright, this video is a no calculator video. You want to impress your friends, be at the restaurant and go know exactly how much you need to tip or pay for a bill. This is the video for you. And doing percentages very quickly in your head, it's really not that bad. It's a fairly simple operation. And it all comes down to this. So let's look at our first one. Find the given percentage of 50. So if we want to find 10% of 50, it's very quick. You take the 50. You move the decimal over 1, and that's it. That is 10%. 5 would be 10% of 50. Pretty quick, right? Alright, let's do another. So say you wanted to find 10% of 40. That would be 4. Pretty quick. So, if you had this little basic question, it's $80, and it says 10% discount. What would a 10% discount of 80 be? You got it. $8. That's it. So it's fairly quick. We get all these confusion like this is going to be difficult, and it's not too bad. Alright, and here's the reason you find 10% first. If you want to make 20% after you find 10%, you just multiply it by 2. So all you have to do is take this number and multiply it by 2, which is 10. So if you want to go from 10 to 60, you multiply it by 6, which would give you guessed it, 30. Well, what if you want to go from 10 to 5? Well, 5 is half. So what is half of 5? 2.5. That's it. So if you know 10%, you can find most of the percentages fairly quickly in your head. Well, what if you want to know 1%? 1% is very quick as well. Just like 10, you move it over 1. For 1%, you move it over 2 times. So it's 0.5. That's 1%. Alright, so I want you to take, well, let's do one more together. You have 40, we already know that's 4. So if you know 10%, you double it, you get 20%. You take the 4 and you multiply it by 6, you get 60. You could also go 20 times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. See, it all works. And then what's half of 4? It's 2. And if you move the decimal over twice, you get 0.4. And that's it. So I want you to try this now for 25. Tell me what 10% is. 20, 60, and 5%. So if you have $25, what would 10% of the 25 be? 20% of the 25 be? 60%, and so on. Hit pause now. Right, and there's your answers. And if you got a little, this seemed a little bit tougher, remember, think of it like money. 10% of 25 would be $2.50, 2.5. So if you double it, you get $5. And then to go from 2.5 to 60, from 10% to 60, you could also do 20% to 60. So to go from 20 to 60 is a multiple of 3. So you do 5 times 3, which is 15. Okay? You could also say, oh, to go from 10 to 6, I got to do a 2 and a 3, so I double it. I get 5 times 3, it's 15. Maybe that's a little trickier. All right, then 10 to 5. Well, if you have $2.50, half of it would be $1.25. And then to find 1%, you move it over 2. Alright, and this is mental math. Okay, so let's try some actual applications mentally. So these are the situations you could run into in life. You are looking at a shirt that costs $40 and you have a 20% off coupon. So you could run to the counter and say, hey, how much is this? Or you could trust your instincts, because they may get it wrong themselves, and do it yourself. So here's how we do it. Well, we have $40. And like I said before, we always want to find 10% first. It gives us the clean start. And we know that's $4. So now we can find 20%, which is double that. It's $8. So our sale price would be 40 minus 8, which is $32. That's how much the shirt will cost. $32. Alright? What if you have to do 25%? Well, 25% is 20% plus 5%. Alright, so we know 10%, we know 20%, and then we just need 5%. So our shirt again was $40. 10% would be 4. 20% would be 8, and 5% would be 2. So we need 25%. 20% is 8. 5% is 2 for a total of $10. So now if we come over here and remove it, 40 minus 10 is $30. That's how much you would pay. So if a shirt's $40, you have a 25% off coupon, you pay $40. The other way to look at it is 25% is a fourth. A fourth of 40 is 10, so you take off $10. All right? Ready for another one? You find a vase that is originally priced $60. So we have $60. And is clearance 50%. Okay, so 50% we can do fairly quickly. That's just half, right? So that means we would pay $30. Okay, so this is the clearance price. All right, done. Part 2. How much will you pay before tax if you have a 25% off coupon? So here we go, $30. And then we have to do 10%. What's 10%? 3. What's 20%? 6. 5%. 1.5, because it's half of 3. So that would be a total of 7.5. Okay, so now our final answer. What is 30 minus 7.5? 22.5. So we would pay $22.50. The other way to look at it is 25% off would be a fourth. So if you can do a fourth of 30, you know that that's 7.5. All right, one more, and then I'll call it quits. If your bill comes out to $44, including tax, approximately, this is the difference. You don't want to do it with 44.05. We want to do approximate. What tip should you leave? If the customary tip is 15%. So for $44 is how we can look at it. It's close enough. For 15%, you need 10% and 5%. So what is 10? You guessed it, 4.5. What's 5? 2.2. Put them together, we get 6.6. Add that on, and what's 44 plus 6? That's 50.6. So you just say, I'm going to leave $51 and call it a good day. That's it. So if you ever want to find out what the tip is, you move the decimal over 1, cut that value in half, and then add them together. That is 15%. All right, so let me have you try one. Let's just say that we have a 35% off of $50. What is the price before tax? Okay, so hit pause and give it a shot. All mental, no calculator. Alright, so if you were still stumped, don't know what to do, I've written it down here. You want to find 35%, which means we need these two right here, 30 and 5. And the first thing you always need to find is 10%. So try it now. Find 10% and then 30 and then 5 and then try it again. And there it is. $32.50 is what you should pay before tax. Now, if you're kind of iffy on decimals, we just do a little counting up. You need $2.50 to get to 20, and then another 30 to get to 50. That's all I did. I went plus $2.50, and that gave me 20, plus 30 gives me 50. Okay? And then put them together, we get $32.50. So I had to add 30 and $2.50 to get to 50. All right, thank you.